Good evening. Welcome to the True Faith YouTube channel. It's the Transfer Show live with myself, Emil. I've got Adam Widrington here as well and Alex Hurst chatting through some of the players that Newcastle United are likely to sign. Saying that just to remind us that these are players who might actually come to Newcastle United for fees that are well over £20 million, which is a breath of fresh air as far as we're concerned. So, lads, obviously the talk of the day today has been Trippier. Kieran Trippier has been at the Newcastle United training grounds. He's been waved in and shouted at by fans who've been there to greet him, so he's getting the full experience straight away. But certainly feels like a deal that will be getting over the line and will be awaiting the announcement any minute now, if not tomorrow. Adam, you and me, we've been on the transfer shows with this one, but we've mentioned it already how this is a name that's been there from the start. It feels good to finally have a story go full circle for once.
Well, absolutely, and it's a show of intent as well. And the fact that it's happened so early in the window, we were talking about the bid that went in on the first morning of the January transfer window opening. This is not how Newcastle United normally do business. Obviously, completely new regime, completely different way of doing things. I've been really impressed so far. Yeah, fantastic coup.
Yeah, and Alex, what do you make of Kieran Trippier? We've heard so much about him. We've seen him at the World Cup. You've been at the games where he's scored important goals for England, and we've seen him at St James's Park for Tottenham. But in terms of this new system that Eddie Howe's brought, obviously he's worked with him before. Do you think that Trippier is going to slot straight in?
Yeah, very much so. I think the fact that he's just such a good footballer will help. Newcastle United, we sit here on the 5th of January, not only Newcastle United, about to sign one of the best fullbacks in Europe, England international. They're gonna do it at the start of the transfer window, ready for Watford at home. So it's not like Miguel Almiron in the past who comes in right at the end of January. It's not like Martin Dubravka and Kennedy in the past who come in right at the end of the window. Getting their business done early, getting it done on time so the players can train with their teammates and with the manager. It's like a lot of people are saying on screen, like, Dan says, great statement of intent. It's exciting times, isn't it? It's a great time to be a Newcastle fan, even though we're 19th in the league.
Mad, isn't it? And obviously last night, we were getting the tweets through. Keith Downey saying that the fees agreed. Adam, obviously we've seen the fee go down. I've never seen a negotiation go so well that it's gone from 25 million down to 12 million. God knows what we said to them, but clearly it worked. There are add-ons which I imagine will mean that it'll lead up to a higher fee perhaps. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a steal now, or do you think that that's kind of what we should be paying?
No, I think it's an absolute steal. And I think, the reports last night were saying, I think the Athletic were reporting that I think this needs to be ironed out, of course, but there were some major journalists were suggesting that these add-ons might only amount to a few million, maybe 3 million in total. So it still feels, either way, even if we have paid 20 to 25 million in total, if there are kind of bonuses based on performance in terms of if Newcastle's avoid relegation, of course, that's still a bargain, as Alex has just alluded to, one of the best fullbacks in the business at the minute. And he has silverware to show for it. He's been integral to England's last two tournament campaigns. He's been one of the best defensive managers of a generation. Diego Simeone does not want him to leave. He considers him important to him, but he will not stand in his way. And yeah, I think that 12 million pounds surprised everybody. But look, we're gonna get surprised by this January transfer window. This is uncharted territory for most of us. This is going to be really fun, really exciting. I don't even care if most of the names we're linked to aren't going to come. It's just great. It's great fun to see what's going to happen and which direction we're going to go in.
It's good. It's one every minute, to be honest. As soon as you refresh Twitter, we've seen about 6 different names already, and other names keep coming back, whirling back round. I think the most fun part of Twitter at the minute is seeing the teams that are linked with other players, and Newcastle fans immediately launching on it, being like, "Oh, go on, then we'll have him as well. Why not? We didn't even realize he was available." So that's where we're at. Trippier is imminent, you could say. It will happen. The medical hopefully went okay, and we're excited to see what he brings to Newcastle United going forward. Very much an experienced player, and we are excited by the prospect of having him there. And if you want to hear a bit more about Kieran Trippier, there are going to be podcasts on our Patreon service, which you can subscribe to for £6.60 a month. But while you're at YouTube, click that subscribe button, because there's plenty of people getting involved tonight and watching along, because we're all excited. Because there's plenty of names, and another one of the names that we've heard is a young Dutch fellow called Sven Botman. I'm sure he can bring plenty, judging by the reaction that he gets, mainly because I'm excited to hear 52,000 Geordies shouting Botman, man, if he does something wrong. But look, this is a deal that appears to be stalling at the moment. Newcastle, how dare we offer 35 million euros for a player from Lille who's playing there at the minute in the Champions League, same as Trippier. Alex, have you had a chance to look at Botman, see what he's like?
I think I've done the same as a lot of other people and watched that little montage of him against Celtic in the Europa League, where he's absolutely class. There's a lot of clubs interested in this guy, and there's a good reason for it. Young, athletic, tall, like unbelievable aerial stats, like good on the ball, good first time touch. And Newcastle under Howe are desperate to be able to transition better and get the ball out of defense better than we can at the minute. We've had some absolute nightmares already this season trying to play out from the back. Leicester City and Liverpool being two key ones. I think someone like Botman just fits, ticks all those boxes for Howe. I think, having watched him, I don't know if people watching are the same. Once you've seen a player like that play and your club wants them, I'm almost just like, just give them what they want, lads. Give them, do what Freddie Shepherd did at Deportivo for Albert Luque. Give them a piece of paper and just say, write down what you want. And buy him, because he looks the real deal. Ajax youth product as well. It's got me very excited.
Yeah, and Graham's pointed out there about the Botman. I mean, this is the world of social media. Do we know if footballers are running their accounts? But randomly, Botman liked to think about Trippier coming to Newcastle. So there we go, lads. The deal is on. But yeah, like we said, it is stalling, as reported by Fabrizio Romano. Lille turning down a 35 million permanent move for him, but they are going to try and keep him, even though they're in a difficult financial situation, which says to me they want a bit more, and AC Milan are still interested. But if he's like an Instagram post, then you know what, we're going to get this young lad. Adam, I mean, what's your take on this tactic from Lille, if it is a tactic? Do you think that this is going to be a thing that he's going to try and do?
I think what they're trying to do is counteract this narrative about them being in financial difficulty, even if that is absolutely accurate. What they don't want to do is appear desperate to sell. They want to drive the price. So that's exactly what's happening now. It's posturing. It is negotiating. It is haggling to get them a price that they're happy with to allow them to leave, because they will need to sell. I think the truth is they will need to sell, and they have a few players in their team that other big teams will be looking at. Jonathan David, another one. So I think there's a deal to be done. I think there's a way to go on this story just yet. I don't think we'd be throwing bids in if we got a sense from Lille that there was absolutely no chance of a deal at all. I think there is room to maneuver. There is room to haggle. That's what's happening right now. But I'm confident. I think now he's seen Trippier in there. That could be just the nudge he needs, Sven Botman, to sort of say, yeah, I want this deal to happen. So hopefully, we can get that one in the bag as well, because what a coup it would be. Such a commanding centre-back, very, highly revered, loads of potential. And as people have said before, could be our Vincent Kompany,
See, the chance already been done. Yeah, everybody in the house do the Botman. Brilliant. So yeah, I mean, for me, Botman, I say him like Botman, like he's some sort of superhero. Botman is the type of player that has been described many times. The Vincent Kompany of Newcastle United, if he comes, who came young, was a real commanding presence throughout the takeover era for Manchester City. Now, as a statue outside the stadium, not saying that's going to happen, but it's still pretty special if you can get a player in like that at a youthful age. And he's got Dutch international experience as well. So I'm really excited to see it, because it's one of those where, you, like Alex said, it only takes a quick look online to think, oh yeah, that looks good to me, and then all of a sudden he's wearing black and white. Exciting prospect for all Newcastle fans, and we like an animated character at Newcastle, that's for sure. Obviously, the Callum Wilson situation has impacted plans slightly, but you know, if you ask any Newcastle fan, we still need a striker in there to do something in the meantime, even if Wilson was fit. So up step Gabigol. This is him. It's like a pound shop Aguero, really, that's going on there. But this is him playing for Flamengo, Brazilian player who's had a bit of time over in Europe. Didn't really quite work out at Inter Milan with 9 appearances in 4 years and just 1 goal. And again, a loan deal at Benfica. So it's one of those classic cases of a South American coming over the water and not really doing it. We could write the book on one of them, or 2 of them, or maybe even 3 of them, because we've got one in our ranks at the minute, although it's been all changed. And Adam, I mean, you can talk about this guy a little bit, but the interesting thing that the Chronicle have said is that he likes the idea of the move, and further on in this article said that he also is keen to link up with fellow countryman Joe Linton. Look at the Eddie Howe effect in action right there.
Well, that's it, man. Joe Linton is the magnet. He's the selling point now. Listen, like this feels a little bit kind of left field, but it's exciting all the same. You know, it's a player who came to Europe very, very young. Couldn't break into that Inter side. He, again, like you alluded to, went on loan deals. He's then gone back to his native land, and he's absolutely torn it up the last couple of seasons. Goals galore, assists, quite a versatile forward. Can play on the wing as well as through the middle. And again, if you're kind of looking at striking options who could play with Callum Wilson when he's back fully fit, you want that bit of versatility so that Wilson could still play through the middle while a new striker, for example, Gabigol, could play on the right wing. So that's appealing. 70 million is a great price. You know, like you say, the only question mark is, does he not just, is it a case of he hasn't traveled well, or is it a case of he has now got the experience that he needs and the development? He's a more rounded player now that he could, make a proper fist of it in Europe. He seems keen to come back. This feels like his agent really trying to hawk him round while his stock is the highest it'll be, given those goal contribution numbers, which are really impressive, by the way. And obviously the Brazilian season has kind of ended, so it's kind of like a break there because it's sort of done alongside the calendar year.
29 in 43
really interesting one, but
for Flamengo. 29 in 43 is pretty impressive for Flamengo. And yeah, I mean, these players when they go back to the homelands, they just seem to have an absolute renaissance, don't they? So Joe Linton will be chomping at the bit to go back and get his 100 goals a season when he gets back there, if he leaves Newcastle, that is. Alex, this is looking like a loan deal for a 25-year-old striker here. We mentioned on the podcast about what can we do in the meantime without Wilson. Now, we don't know much about this striker, and we're a bit worried about a Brazilian that we don't know much about coming into the squad. But you've been thinking of how we can set up top. Either San Maximan is going to be there. Is Joe Linton going to play off San Maximan? Could that work in the meantime? If we get a player like this in, what do you expect?
Well, I think the first thing to say about this player is, he would fit the bill of being an understudy to Wilson, because if you're going to sign a striker in January, players are generally going to want to come and play. And I think it's pretty clear at the minute, Callum Wilson's Newcastle's number 9. He plays when fit. So a player like this coming in, who was a little bit unproven, who, from what I read, is desperate to get a place for Brazil at the next World Cup. I don't know if it makes sense from that perspective, because unless he comes in as absolutely unbelievable, as soon as Wilson's fit, he starts every game, and then he's coming off the bench. There is this kind of thing about signing players from outside of Europe in January. There's often work permit issues. There's issues around, signing a player who's never played in the Premier League or played much in European football, how much of an issue that would be. I mean, Gabriel Jesus went to Man City in January and did great. So there's him as well as kind of the counter argument there. But I do feel, that there are a couple of rumours tonight on social media about Vlahovic from Fiorentina. Like that's the different end of the spectrum. That's spending like a reported 70 million euros. I'm not sure if Fiorentina are going to get that much. And that he would come in as number 1 striker. He comes in as the man who is going to, almost replace Wilson. I think Wilson and Howe and the importance of Wilson to this team means someone like Gabigol would make sense, just in pure terms of the price being quite low for a striker at 17 million, and also the fact that Wilson would probably still be the first choice.
Yeah, well, there's been a few other strikers who we've mentioned on our Patreon transfer shows. Of course, you can join Patreon, as I mentioned, £6.60 a month. We're doing 2 shows a week. Adam will be present for those, and we'll be all appearing at some point to chat about it. But there's people like Nunes from Benfica, 50 million just getting thrown around. The fact that Newcastle have even got those price tags next to them, it's crazy at the minute that that's the type of money we can spend. But this is where we're at. This is the money that we're going to spend, and we've only put 12 million of it in there already just for Kieran Trippier. That's all we're getting for that. So we're going to have to just be careful with how we go with the rest of it. Spend it wisely. Just before we do wrap up, we've seen one player almost rumour come and go today, Luca Dean. Adam, we've mentioned about Botman and the kind of tug of war over it, but Luca Dean has been quoted as saying not an option for him coming to Newcastle, or at least they're saying that it's apparently not an option.
Yeah, I saw that from Fabrizio Romano. Luke Edwards seemed to pour cold water on that. He sort of feels that he's got different information, but I think there's a long way to go with this one as well, because look at it. Everton want a permanent deal. Chelsea will not go for a permanent deal. They will want a loan deal because they want a stopgap while Chilwell is injured. They've still got Alonso. We are in a position where we can provide game time and we can provide that straight cash up front. And that is what the selling club is reportedly looking for, given that they've already brought that replacement in for Dina, and they will want to replenish those funds basically. So I think they will certainly be looking for a permanent deal, which puts us in a very strong position. There's a long way to go in this transfer window just yet.
Yeah, Alex, do you think that one's over? Is that one that was maybe like a bit of a blow to see that one was just so high up and then just dropped down?
I think so. I don't know if it's over. You know, the fact that Everton they have to move him on. So this player has to leave Everton this window, and there are only going to be a number of finite clubs who could afford the transfer fee and willing to pay his wages. So it's not over until he moves somewhere else. We need a left back. We definitely need support at left back. I thought Jamal Lewis did really well when he came in, but he's played like 3 games this season and is now injured for a prolonged period. Left back's, you know, a real important position. We had Matt Ritchie play there recently. We've had Manquillo play there. So he fits it from that bill, and he's got a lot of Premier League experience. Everton are like 3 places above in the Premier League. I can't see Everton selling the player, even though he's not in their plans, selling a player to a direct rival. And, you know, we beat Watford and Leeds, and we're up with Everton before we play them, beat them, and we're ahead of them. I've got to win in 3 games here in about a week and a half, even though we've won one all season.
Trippier hat-trick.
I think that will come into it. It's a bit like Tarkowski and Burnley. They'll want to sell to anyone but Newcastle.
Well, see how they resist our riches. You know, it's clearly going to affect everyone over the next few days, and it's only the 5th of January. Next week, 12th of January, I will be here again. I'm not sure who'll be joining me, but this is the weekly thing here on the True Faith YouTube channel. We will be live once again for a very short broadcast because we are about to wrap up. But if you liked what we do, then please do hit subscribe on our channel. There will be loads more stuff because, believe it or not, I mean, it's just awkward that we've got this in the middle. There's a football match that we have to play on Saturday, so you'll get all your reaction to that. I know it's preposterous, really, that we have to do that while we're trying to sign the world. But here we go. This is going to be everything else for the rest of the window. Like I said, Patreon is there. We've got loads of stuff, and thank you for joining us tonight, Adam, Alex. Cheers very much.
Cheers.